I'm Mike Wilson with Laser Precision Marksmanship Club. I'm the CEO.
My name is Michael Nellinger. I am the Chief Financial Officer and Legal Counsel.
So I have a background in law enforcement, also a member of the Civilian Crisis Response Team, which is pretty much dedicated to protecting the communities, disaster relief, search and rescue, things like that.
My background is I got certified as a USCCA firearms instructor and decided to start doing some training, and I hooked up with a security guard company, and I was their chief training officer for a while. So I was training people in the security industry how to shoot.
In the academy, when I was in law enforcement, we actually got to train on simulators. Nowhere near enough time, but it made me realize there were things that we could do on a simulator that we couldn't recreate at the gun range.
As it says in our tagline, training, practice, and entertainment, we do a number of different things. We can train shooters that are relatively new to the shooting space. So I get a lot of people that come to me, I've got a license, I've got a handgun, I don't know what to do. So we can spend an hour with somebody and get the fundamentals trained into them so that they are not worrying about how to grip, stance, sight picture, etc. They got all that down. And then when they go to the live fire range, we'll explain to them what they're going to experience so they can have an expectation rather than going in there and getting surprised by everything.
So we utilize military grade firearms simulators. So there's no live fire, no expensive ammunition to buy, and you get to shoot on a simulator. Roughly 3,000 rounds an hour is what you can shoot on a simulator. The average person going to a gun range might shoot a couple boxes of ammo, and they do what we call bullseye shooting. They stand there and they try to shoot the same shot in the same hole on the paper. Nothing's moving. Because of risk and liability, they don't let you draw from your holster. They won't let women pull out of their, try their concealed carry purse. They don't want the risk and the liability. But when there's no live fire, you can do all of those things. You can dynamically move around the room. You get to use them in your training.
So you try to go into a live fire range and ask for help, and they're not going to give you any because they don't have people to do that. They have range safety officers that are watching to make sure everybody's practicing shooting safely, but they don't have people who can help you. So that's why you need to come here first.
It never fails whenever I would train somebody and take them to a gun range. There's always somebody in the lane next to you that thought today was the day to bring their hand cannon out or their big shotgun.
And the next thing you go, what was that? It's that guy with the 44 Magnum who's wanting to show off to his girlfriend, right? I mean, he probably can't hit squat with it, but it makes a lot of noise.
And it's so loud and it's so intimidating to the person who doesn't have any experience. We can come in here, we can turn off the speakers. We actually had a couple come in with a newborn baby in the little, car seat, and they said, "Hey, can we just turn the speakers off so we don't have any of the noise and the gunfire?" We're like, "Sure, absolutely." So when people are training and they're saying, "Hey, I'm a competitive shooter," they come in at the exact same time with a kid that's not experienced, and we put on pirate ships and prairie dogs and zombies for the kids, and we put the guys through obstacle courses and make them do magazine changes and reloads, and make them move tactically through the room. So we can dynamically create it so there's something for everybody.
We also do a lot of security guard training for various security teams, and their team will come in here because we can provide them with the opportunity to try judgment training. Judgment training is a situation where we put a scenario on the screen and you are acting like you're in the scenario, and then you have to resolve it. Now, what we're trying to train people to do is learn how to de-escalate, and in some of them that's an option, in some of them it's not. And I like to say that the window of the decision-making process of when you can de-escalate and when you can't sometimes closes slowly and sometimes goes, and you have to go through that judgment solution process to determine how long you can try to de-escalate before you have to either take the shot or do something to get the bad guy out of the picture.
I mean, we have over 1,000 different scenarios, and we have specific scenarios designed for protecting houses of worship. What would you do if there was a disruptive guy? Is that going to escalate? What do you do when there's a divorced couple and they've got to come in and they're trying to get their child out of childcare, but they're not supposed to? So these aren't all like shoot scenarios. This is how do you learn to de-escalate? How do you learn to use your words and then just going through these scenarios of what would you do if? And a lot of these guys, they freeze. You wouldn't think that this kind of creates that pucker factor. You're like, I'm standing in a room. I know that this is a computer. I know this is a projector. This is not real life. But there are scenarios where a guy and his girlfriend, they're fighting. The guy pulls out a baseball bat and he's yelling at you going, hey, is this the guy you're cheating on me with? You know, and you're like, oh man, I don't know what I would do. And all your focus is on this guy with the bat. And you're like, do I draw my weapon? Do I not draw my weapon? And you're like, sir, you need to stay away. Half the people in this scenario never realize that the girl goes back to her car and pulls out a firearm. They don't see it. They get tunnel vision even though they're indoors and there's no threat. That's the things that firearms training on a simulator can do.
I had a gal come in here and she said, I am trained and licensed to be a school resource officer, but I know that I do not have the training to make proper judgments if I'm confronted with a situation I've never been confronted with before. So I want to train on your judgment training as much as I can so that I can become confident that if I'm confronted with a situation that I haven't seen before, I can make a judgment properly that will keep my students safe.
People should be prepared to take care of their friends, their family, their community. If something came up, would you be an asset or would you be in the way? It's the same reason that I train in first aid.
I really enjoy having people come in that know nothing and they leave, they're hitting everything they shoot at. They have confidence. It's clear that they have confidence in how to shoot, how to use the weapon. They're using it safely and go out of here and feel confident that they can use that if they need to in a situation that may require them to use their firearm. That makes all of this worthwhile to me.
Really what made firearm simulators the gold standard was this Firearms Training Commission. They did a study and they took a group of FBI agents and they put half of them in the academy and they said, you're gonna only do live fire for the whole academy. And the other half, they only put them on a simulator. They didn't fire one round of live fire ammo the entire academy. And then at the end of the academy, they all had to qualify live fire. The people who shot on the simulator had never picked up a live fire weapon the entire academy, and they scored identical to the people who did live fire the whole time. That became the gold standard and what caused everybody to say, okay, this is legit training. The military uses it, FBI, DEA, CIA, all the alphabet agencies, they all use simulators for their training for that reason.
Yeah, I think this is an exciting opportunity for people who have always thought about learning to shoot, but were concerned about the safety aspects or knew that they didn't know enough and were hesitant to go into the sport because they didn't know what they didn't know. So this is a good way to step into it, learn without putting yourself at risk or anybody else around you for that matter, and go from there. And a lot of people start out doing this type of thing and then they go on to become expert shooters.
We want people to say, whatever level of training you're at, we can recreate it on a simulator, whether it's shotgun sports, whether it's obstacle courses, precision shooting, the guys that do the 3 guns, or you just want to come in and have fun with your buddies. You want to have a date night and shoot some zombies. We just look for everybody to be able to come in and have an amazing time. If you want more information, check us out, follow us on social media, click the link below, and we look forward to seeing you.